willing to stay on as the judge. He was the judge last year?
He was, because he told me this story, and I remembered it from last year. He had just done one of his readings, and it was out of his book, and it was prose poetry, and he read it, and the room was real quiet. You know, as you are after a read, you want to make sure the reader's done before you clap, but the room was quiet, and it was a interesting poem that, you know, had this zinger at the end. So maybe it was a little extended quiet, and this little girl in the front row yells out, "I get it!" And
oh, how cute!
And he said, and actually, she was our first reader. She was the youngest in the youngest category for poetry, and she was one of the ones that got up and just did this great reading. But he said that after that experience, that that was one of the highlights of his career. So to have a student say, "I get it," after he read it.
Especially with his extended silence and nobody's really sure what to do.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was moments, but it was, everybody laughed. It really broke the ice for the whole evening.
You know, one time we were at it was one of Edwina Castle's ballets, and there was so obviously nobody's talking, and it's filled with children, so all the little brothers and sisters are in the audience, and something's happening now. The evil wood chopper is doing something bad, and the music's dom, 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 and it's like dead silence. All of a sudden, this little kid goes, "Uh-oh." Everybody just laughed. I mean, it's so
great.
cute. It's like, break the ice, you know?
Yeah. So that was it. So he's working on a book, and he had told me last year that he didn't think he would be able to be judge again, but then he changed his mind because it was a good experience.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a lot of work, but it's kind of an intense burst.
Right.
You know, you have to, from February 17th or whenever he gets the material to.
Right.
You know.
He spends a lot of time on it and takes it real seriously. And what I really appreciated when I got the list of winners, the discussion and thought that went into even some of the ones he couldn't choose, but he told me how stunning they were. But they just were, something wasn't the right genre or something didn't work as well. And one poem was, it wasn't a haiku. It didn't really fit anything, but he was so stunned by it. He said it was so great that we had an honorable mention for that piece just because it didn't fit anything, but how could you not celebrate that piece of writing? And so we put it in. So there's some flexibility in there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It was a really fun process.
And you want to talk a little bit about the chapbooks? I know
sure.
You brought a few of them historic chapbooks.
Right. Well, we started, this is our chapbook. I'll start from the most previous.
Sure.
This was last year's. The artwork is by Cindy Stinson-Channel. Some people may recognize it. But this is a simple chapbook that many poets produce as some of their beginning work, and it's very sweet and humble, as was our budget. So we went back to the type of book last year, I don't know if I'll get that to say, as we had done in many years before, which was the humble chapbook. But not, just because they're not hardcover, they're no less honored among the writing world. They're very honored. In an interim period, probably for maybe the last 6 or 7 years, maybe even more than that, Marilyn Warwick Stell donated her time and paper arts, bookmaking, and she made these beautiful chapbooks. So that would be a real fun thing to, well, actually, I don't know if I'd call them chapbooks. They're books.
They're works of art.
They're works of art, actually. They're just so beautiful. They're scrumptious.
You know, I still have I think from 2000 and 2001.
Were you
the
a
artist,
winner?
but the artist directories that she produced, and they were artists of Yamaha County, and they're full size like this, but they're absolutely gorgeous.
They're for your coffee table.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Think. They're just beautiful.
You know, we can mention that she is going to be doing a workshop at Terroir.
Oh, great.
Yeah, a bookmaking workshop.
I'll take it. I would love to take that workshop. So, so those are the publications, and
so the work does live on. I mean, it's archived, and
it's well, we've got copies. I think most years. This is a sampling of them. I gathered these from different people, so I haven't really put them in order yet, but it does live on. The reach is pretty broad and wide over all these years of people, because we have enough categories and places within a category that it's pretty impressive. We have a lot of writers here in Yamhill County.
Absolutely.
A lot
Oh,
of
my
great
goodness.
writers.
And the chapbooks are for sale.
Yeah,
People can buy them.
Yeah, they can buy them throughout the year. They could pick up a copy, but they also can buy them at the reading, and then they can buy them now that we have the Terroir Festival. They can buy them there too, and they're pretty inexpensive. I can't remember what we charged, $3 or $4, maybe $5 for. These though, and I think these were a little more expensive, and those monies go right back in as a fundraiser for Arts Alliance for the project. So.
Yeah, it's one of those projects that it's extremely worthwhile, but it doesn't attract, it's a lot of, necessarily high power support.
Well, in this economy, I don't,
What is,
a little bit, we just make it happen, but writing doesn't really itself take a lot of resources, we can print them we can display our art pretty economically.
The resources it takes is all right here.
All right here, right here.
And your
right
heart,
here.
And it's like, what was it the one writer said something, I just sit at my desk and open a vein or something.
It's easier than it's harder than it looks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Annie Lamott says, put your seat to the seat. So, and then you have to get started. But yeah, I think as time is going by that Yamhill County is getting probably more on the map for its writers. Certainly the Terroir Festival is a great, and did you go, have you gone in the past years? Yeah, I think it's wonderful, so.
What I really like about the whole concept of Yamhill County in general is that, it's kind of like the more, every day more artists are coming here, and so there's this huge, I guess a basic core of people that have been here for, maybe decades, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and the reputation keeps growing, and more interest is, being paid to Yamhill County as a kind of a little artist mecca. And I think actually over the 25 years I've lived here, I have really seen that between, the wineries. I think there was like 6 or something when I moved here. No, a few. A few. Yeah. And now, what they say, 40% of the wineries in the state are here. I mean, that's kind of amazing. But also the whole art scene. It's just completely exploded.
And I think if you want to do a project in the arts, like if you came up with a different sort of project, like the Terroir Project or different programs that we've had in the schools, they're so immediately supported. And, I'm not saying that funding comes in by the truckload, but people are generous. They open their pocketbooks over and over to support these sorts of things.
And one of the things is, you finally get the critical mass. There are enough people that it's more easy. I guess that you'd say it's easier to find somebody to be in a writing group with you. Writers or painters or whatever it's going to be. That if you live in a town of 600 people, that might be very difficult. But once you attain a certain size, then it just becomes easier because there's more people here. Yeah. I think that's the advantage of the growth that we've had.
I think it is too. And I think there's a culture in McMinnville that, we're still a farming community, and our wineries are farmers too, but it seems real supportive of the arts. Back to the lights on 3rd Street, it's gorgeous. Everything around us is that way now. So,
and I think about all the people over the last, we'll just say 18 or 19 years who've submitted to Paper Gardens from
thousands.
When you think about little kids, 6 or 7 years old, well, now those are people in their mid-20s, and that might have been their first early success that let them know that, hey, I'm talented, I can do this, and they go on to other things. I think that you can't discount that as a vehicle, I suppose, for really encouraging young people and maybe closet artists, people that always wanted to write but always scribbled and never submitted, but this seems accessible.
Yeah. Well, my son won Paper Gardens in poetry when he was in 4th grade.
Oh, how cool.
And it was a story about backpacking with my husband, and it was a really pretty poem, but it was a great experience for him. I had everybody in my family come to watch him.
Oh, how cool.
And it was, to be in the 4th grade, he seemed to do well with it. I don't remember him being quite as brave as some of the kids that I see now, but to get up and read your own words, that's an interesting experience that we don't have really, unless you're in a club or something where you have to give a speech. doesn't happen that often. So some people didn't want to do it last year, and there's they have that right to not read, but I would say that was the 1%. So
Did somebody read for them, or was the poem just not read?
no, they just opted out. So, but somebody could have somebody read for them. I think that would be fine. But I encourage people. I give a little talk at the beginning that says, it's not easy to do, but once you do it, you will feel really great, and your work won a prize here. So be proud.
Well, and you probably couldn't find a safer, more nurturing environment.
Right.
You start with 144 people
Right.
who are essentially basically your neighbors.
Right, moms and dads and kids and
You look out into a sea of friendly faces, and then from there you can work up to maybe giving poetry readings someday.
At
Who
Powell's.
knows? So what is your son? Does he still write?
Well, I think he does. He does everything, kind of. He's a high-tech kid. He goes to a tech school in Boston, but he does write. All three of my kids are pretty good writers, strong writers, I think. So.
You know what cracked me up is I had never known my son to be a writer. I mean, not at all.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
And then all of a sudden he was at college, and he sent me an email. He said, "Mom, I won a poetry competition." I was like, "You did? I didn't even know you wrote poetry."
That's great.
I don't know. Yeah.
Did you get to read the poem?
Yeah, it was fine. It was
Yeah.
good, but it really surprised me because I never suspected Andrew of being a poet.
I think he had a good teacher somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
Yeah,
think
actually, he had a lot of them.
and probably you, Mom.
You never
You're
know.
a writer.
Well,
When I first met you, I think you were doing a lot of writing or taking a writing class or.
yes, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So good times.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we'll just go over this again and say that
Okay.
this is the 19th year of Paper Gardens.
Right.
The submission deadline is coming up very quickly.
Very
Okay.
quickly.
So if anybody's got anything that they want to polish or something that they want to kick out really
Ready to go.
fast,
Right.
or your kids,
And if they want to start for next year, I think that's a wonderful idea too, because 12 months flies by. And,
Really?
and there's a lot of pieces that you can enter, so so don't be discouraged if you're just hearing about it now.
but maybe what if they don't get a chance to enter this
Yeah.
year, maybe they'll at least come to the reading.
The reading would be really fun. I think that they would enjoy that and be entertained. And I also wanted to say, in case they are deciding, if they're looking for the entry form, it's on the Arts Alliance website.
Okay.
So it's Arts Alliance of Yamhill County. I don't know exactly what that website is, but you can Google it and find out. And
It comes up Arts Alliance of Yamhill County. It comes up AAYC.
Yeah.
It comes up under a lot of.
you can type in Paper Gardens
certainly
and it comes
can.
up now. So that's where the registration form is.
That's really great. I'm so glad you came on today. And
Thank you.
it's funny because when we were talking about a little bit of the history, I had really sort of forgotten a lot of those early days of Rachel Burchard and Pat Myers, who was really instrumental with it, and so many people that have done so much in the past that it kind of passed the torch to you now.
And then later to someone else. And our first judge was William Stafford, and he was a fabulous Oregon writer. And wasn't January his birthday month? I think we've just wrapped up a big tribute to him. But
yeah, a lot of fabulous judges over the years, and a lot of fabulous entries over the years, and I think it's been. I'd say this is one of the Arts Alliance, along with Art Harvest Studio Tour, one of their more successful programs.
Right, I know they're very proud of it. The board is very proud of it, and I feel glad that they asked me to carry the torch for it for a couple of years. It's been really fun.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much. I'm glad you
Thank
could be
you.
here today, and I can't wait to see this year's winners.
Okay, thank you.